Hello and welcome. This presentation explains The Overcoat, one of the most famous stories by Nikolai Gogol. It is a simple story on the outside but deeply emotional inside. It talks about poverty, loneliness, the cruelty of society, and the small dreams of a small man. As we go through the slides, we will see how one overcoat becomes the center of Akaki's life and how his life teaches us powerful lessons about humanity. The overcoat tells the life of a poor clerk named Akaki Akakevich, who spends his life copying documents. His world is very small, his desires are very few, and his existence is almost invisible to others. Yet, within this simple man, there is a quiet dignity. Gogol uses Akaki's life to show us how society often fails to respect the weak and the voiceless. This story is not about an overcoat. It is about human emotions, sufferings, and the search for basic kindness. It reminds us that even the smallest human being deserves attention, compassion, and respect. Akaki is a gentle soul living in a harsh world. He does his work with complete honesty and sincerity, but nobody values him. People laugh at him for his appearance, his voice, and even his name. Yet he never complains. There is innocence in him, almost childlike. He does not understand cruelty, and that makes him even more vulnerable. His only happiness is copying documents. It is the one place where he feels confident and peaceful. Through Akaki, Gogol shows us the quiet tragedy of a man whom society refuses to notice or understand. Akaki's overcoat is more than cloth. It is a shield against the world. When it becomes worn out, it symbolizes his helplessness. The tailor Petrovich tells him that repair is impossible and he needs a new one. For a poor man like Akaki, this is a huge challenge, but he accepts it with determination. He sacrifices his food, comfort, and every small pleasure just to save money. Each rupee he saves shows his silent struggle. This part of the story touches our heart because it shows how difficult life can be for someone who already has so little. When Akaki finally buys a new overcoat, it feels like a celebration not only for him but also for us as readers. The coat gives him confidence and pride, feelings he has never experienced before. Suddenly, people treat him with respect. His colleagues, who once laughed at him, now notice him and admire him. For a brief moment, Akaki's world becomes warm. His heart feels the joy of being accepted. This short happiness is precious because it's the first time he feels that he belongs somewhere. Just when life begins to change, tragedy strikes. While walking home from a party, two men attack him and steal his beloved overcoat. The coat was not just a piece of clothing, it was his hope, his pride, and the only happiness he had known in years. Akaki returns to his old helplessness. He goes from office to office, seeking justice, but no one listens. The powerful official, the very important person, humiliates him, makes fun of him. This moment breaks Akaki's spirit. The world that gave him a small taste of happiness now takes it away cruelly. This is the emotional peak of the story, where we feel the pain of a man who had almost nothing to begin with. The shock, the insult, and the hopelessness destroys Akaki's health. He falls seriously ill. No one notices. No one cares. His existence ends as quietly as he lived. His death is not dramatic, it is painfully ordinary. Society forgets him immediately, proving how lonely and unnoticed his life truly was. Gogol makes us reflect on how easily we overlook someone who silently suffers around us. Akaki's death is both a tragedy and a lesson in humanity. After his death, a ghost appears in the city and starts stealing overcoats from people, especially officials. This ghost represents Akaki's silent revenge and the idea that ignored people eventually demand justice. This ghost is a symbol of Akaki's suppressed pain and society's guilt. When alive, no one listened to him. In death, his ghost forces people to feel what he felt: fear, helplessness, and vulnerability. This supernatural, this supernatural twist adds depth to the story, reminding us that ignored injustices often come back in unexpected ways. The Overcoat explores many themes that are still relevant today. It speaks about social inequality, how the rich and powerful ignore the poor and powerless. It also highlights bureaucracy, where rules are more important than human feelings. Another strong theme is human dignity. Akaki teaches us that every person, no matter how small or simple, deserves respect. Loneliness, irony, and satire also run through the story, making it realistic yet emotionally moving. Gogol uses the story to question society's values and our own behavior towards others. In the end, Overcoat is much more than a story of a poor clerk. It is a reminder to be kind and sensitive. Akaki's life shows us the silent suffering that exists around us. His overcoat represents warmth, identity, and hope, things every human needs. Gogol encourages us to notice the invisible people in our society, the ones who work silently, suffer quietly, and expect very little. This story teaches us that humanity begins with simple compassion. Through Akaki's sorrow, we understand the value of kindness. Thank you for listening to the story, The Overcoat. I hope you enjoyed the narration and understood the deeper message behind it. This story is part of your Semester 1, Unit 5 syllabus, so do revisit it whenever you prepare for exams.